There are moments in life that do not need to be described, only felt, moments that unfold quietly in shared glances, in unspoken understanding, in the simple rhythm of two hearts growing side by side. From the beginning, that has been the foundation of everything. I am the strength of walking a path not alone, but with someone who mirrors your steps, challenges your thoughts, and knows your silences. The journey I speak of is not one of distance, but of closeness, a closeness that builds not from perfection, but from the bond of two souls learning to grow together. It begins in the smallest of things, in laughter that fills corridors, in whispered secrets that belong only to two. It is in the way one hand reaches for another without needing to ask, in the quiet reassurance that no matter how heavy the day becomes, there is always someone who understands. A shared journey is not always easy, but it is always real. It carries the beauty of contrast, one light, calm, and steady, the other bright and fearless, and somehow the world feels more balanced because both exist together. Growing together means discovering not only the world but also oneself, reflected through another's eyes. You learn to listen differently, to speak more gently, to forgive more quickly. You learn that togetherness does not mean sameness. It is about harmony, two distinct notes that create something far greater when played together, and within that harmony lies the comfort of knowing that you are never truly alone in facing change, expectation, or uncertainty. In our world, where so much is seen and judged, having someone who shares not only your name and your home, but also your understanding of duty and dreams becomes a gift beyond measure. It brings grounding when life moves too quickly and laughter when days feel heavy. It is the kind of presence that reminds you of who you are, even when the world demands that you be more than yourself. That quiet, constant support shapes the strength that others see from afar. There are times when our journeys seem to diverge, when interests, responsibilities, or paths begin to take their own directions. Yet the truth is, the connection never weakens, it deepens, because shared roots do not fade with distance. They anchor us in what matters, the shared experiences, the early lessons, the countless moments of joy and challenge, all weave together a bond that time cannot unravel. It is that invisible thread of understanding that allows two people to look at each other and know, without words, exactly what the other feels. Sisterhood, in its truest sense, is a quiet form of strength. It does not seek attention, it simply exists, powerful and steady. It teaches patience, humility, and gratitude. It encourages you to celebrate another's success as if it were your own, and to carry another's burden as though it were light. It reminds you that love is not measured by grand gestures, but by the everyday presence of care, the look that says, "I believe in you," the words that say, "I am here." There is something deeply grounding about sharing not just laughter, but also responsibility. To grow up knowing that the steps you take will one day carry meaning beyond yourself, and to have someone beside you who understands that weight is both humbling and comforting. It becomes a silent partnership of purpose. Each one learns from the other, one finding courage through steadiness, the other finding grace through courage, and in that exchange both become stronger. As the years pass, the bond transforms. It becomes less about shared moments and more about shared purpose. You begin to see how each of you carries the other's lessons forward, one into the public, another into the private, one through words, another through action. Yet even as the world watches, the essence remains personal, untouched. It is the same laughter that once echoed in childhood halls, the same support that carried you through growing pains. The world may see two individuals, but you know it is still one shared journey. The power of togetherness is not only in what is seen, but in what is felt. It is knowing that in the moments of uncertainty, when everything feels new or overwhelming, there is a familiar presence that steadies you. It is the reminder that no title, no stage, no challenge is too great when faced with the quiet assurance that someone believes in you. That belief, that unwavering trust, becomes the foundation upon which courage is built. Sisterhood does not require constant words. It thrives in understanding. It finds meaning in shared silences, in glances that carry memories, in gestures that hold history. It is the comfort of being known without having to explain yourself, of being accepted without question. It is a bond that time cannot weaken, because it is rooted not in circumstance, but in choice, the daily choice to stand by one another, to protect, to uplift, and to remind each other of who we truly are. When I think about what it means to walk this shared path, I am reminded that we do not build our lives in isolation. Every strength is strengthened by love, every success deepened by support. To share a journey means to multiply joy, to divide sorrow, and to carry forward hope together. It means that even when life takes us to different places, the connection remains invisible but unbreakable, like stars that may appear far apart, yet belong to the same constellation, and perhaps that is what defines a universe built for two, not perfection, but presence. The presence of another who understands your world, who holds your history, and who believes in your future. It is a universe that teaches you to be braver, kinder, and truer to yourself. A universe that reminds you that no matter how vast life becomes, there will always be one person who has walked beside you from the beginning, who has seen you not as the world does, but as you truly are. In the end, this shared journey is not just about two people. It is about what togetherness can teach the world, that strength does not mean standing alone, and that love, when rooted in understanding and respect, can endure any distance, any challenge, any change. It is a quiet, luminous force that shapes not only lives but futures. So when we speak of journeys, of purpose, of hope, let us remember, the most beautiful paths are those we do not walk alone. They are the ones where two hearts move in rhythm, learning, growing, and building something greater than themselves, a universe that shines not because it belongs to two, but because it was built together. There are moments in life when the meaning of duty is not taught by words, but discovered through experience. It is not something handed down like a title or a symbol, but something that grows quietly within, shaped by every decision, every encounter, every reflection on what it means to belong and to serve. To understand duty is to understand that it is not about privilege. It is about purpose. It asks of you not what you wish to take from the world, but what you are prepared to give. Duty begins as a promise made silently to those who came before, and to those who will come after. It is the recognition that every opportunity carries a responsibility, that every gesture, every word, every act of kindness contributes to something far greater than oneself. It demands constancy and humility. It asks that you listen before you speak, that you learn before you lead, and that you remember that respect is not commanded, it is earned. To live with duty is to understand that identity and service are intertwined. You cannot know who you truly are until you have understood who you are meant to serve. Each of us carries within us a story, a heritage, a culture, a collection of values shaped by family, by history, by the people whose courage made our present possible. That identity gives us roots, but those roots are not meant to hold us back. They are meant to steady us as we grow. Identity, in its purest form, is not fixed. It evolves with understanding. It reflects how we balance what we inherit with what we create. To be true to oneself does not mean resisting change, but guiding it with meaning. It means finding the courage to honor where you come from, while embracing where you are going. In a world that moves faster each day, to remain true is not to stand still. It is to move forward with awareness, carrying your values as your compass. I have often thought about what it means to belong to a generation shaped by constant transformation, by technology, global conversation, and the awareness that what happens in one corner of the world can touch another instantly. We are not separated by distances anymore. We are connected by ideas, challenges, and dreams. Modernity is not only about progress or innovation, it is about empathy, the capacity to understand one another beyond borders and beliefs, and to act with compassion in a shared world. The balance between duty, identity, and modernity is delicate but necessary. It requires one to stand firmly in the present while keeping sight of both past and future. There are moments when tradition may seem to slow us down, and moments when change may seem to rush too fast. But neither must overpower the other. The wisdom of yesterday must guide the courage of today. The energy of youth must renew the stability of experience. Together, they form the path toward a future that honors both memory and progress. Duty reminds us to serve. Identity reminds us who we are. Modernity reminds us why we must keep evolving. When these three elements move together, they create harmony, a way of living that is both authentic and forward-looking. It is not about choosing between them, but about allowing them to coexist, to serve without losing oneself, to grow without forgetting one's roots, to innovate without abandoning meaning. That is the essence of true purpose. Every generation faces its own test to redefine what it means to act responsibly in its time. Ours is a world where voices rise from every corner, where awareness grows, and where people demand truth, inclusion, and hope. Our duty, then, is to listen, to transform responsibility from an abstract word into tangible action. It is to engage with the realities of our world, with the challenges of inequality, the urgency of protecting our planet, the need for understanding between people and cultures. Duty today is not confined to a single role or title. It is shared by all who wish to contribute meaningfully to humanity. Identity in this context is not a boundary, but a bridge. It connects what we inherit with what we aspire to become. It gives direction to our duty and authenticity to our actions. To be rooted in one's identity does not mean closing oneself off to others. It means having the confidence to open one's heart and mind. It means knowing that you can represent your people, your culture, your story, and still embrace the diversity and richness of the world around you. Modernity gives us the tools to do so. It gives us ways to communicate, to learn, to collaborate. But it also challenges us to remain human in a digital age, to preserve reflection in an age of immediacy, to build connection in a time of noise. Modernity should not make us forget the value of silence, of listening, of empathy. It should help us reach further, but also help us see more clearly what truly matters. There is great strength in balance. The challenge is not in choosing between tradition and innovation, but in making them complement each other. The heart of modern duty lies in adaptation, in finding new ways to express timeless values. It is in showing that respect, service, and integrity are not old words, but eternal ones, that they can exist in every era, every generation, every language if we choose to live by them. To carry duty with identity in a modern world is to embrace both continuity and change. It is to understand that one can be deeply proud of where one comes from while remaining open to where one is going. It is to realize that loyalty to one's roots does not prevent growth, it enables it, because identity that is secure does not fear evolution, it welcomes it. Perhaps that is what defines our generation's role, to weave together duty and modernity through authenticity. To remember that leadership in any form is not about being followed, but about being useful. To recognize that the strength of a nation, of a community, or even of an individual lies not in power, but in purpose. Every era calls for renewal, and every renewal must begin with understanding of the self, of others, and of the shared space we inhabit. The path ahead may be complex, but it is ours to shape. we can build a future that respects tradition without being constrained by it, that values progress without losing compassion. In this journey, I have learned that to serve is to grow, that duty, when embraced with heart, becomes not a weight, but a direction. That identity, when lived with openness, becomes not a label, but a light, and that modernity, when guided by purpose, becomes not a force of distraction, but a bridge toward unity. In the end, what defines us is not how much we change, but how truthfully we carry our values through that change. To stand in the present aware of the past, hopeful for the future, is to find meaning in the moment we live. Duty, identity, and modernity are not separate paths. They are one road, leading toward a world where progress and purpose walk hand in hand. And if we walk that road with sincerity, with empathy, and with courage, then perhaps we will not only honor those who came before us, but also inspire those who will follow, proving that to serve, to know oneself, and to evolve with time is the truest expression of belonging in this ever-changing world. There is a quiet strength that grows when people come together, not out of obligation, but out of belief in something larger than themselves. That is where unity begins. It does not appear suddenly. It is built patiently, through shared purpose, through listening, through the courage to care for one another even when it is not easy. I have come to see that true unity is not about everyone being the same, but about everyone being part of something that matters, something that gives meaning to our differences and direction to our hopes. Service is the heart of that unity. It is the way we turn words into action, ideals into change, compassion into progress. To serve is to recognize that the future does not build itself, it is shaped by the hands, the hearts, and the will of people who understand that their choices affect more than just themselves. Service is not about recognition or reward, it is about contribution. It is about knowing that what we do, however small, has the power to bring light to someone else's life. When I think of unity and service, I think of the faces of people working quietly for others, teachers who guide, nurses who care, volunteers who rebuild, young people who speak up for what they believe in. None of them stand alone. Together they form the foundation of what the future can be. Their strength lies in cooperation, in kindness, in their belief that no challenge is greater than the collective power of people who care. To build the future is to honor the present. It is to see in every challenge an opportunity to create something lasting. It is to realize that the best way to serve tomorrow is by acting with integrity today. We cannot build what we do not first imagine, and we cannot imagine what we do not first believe in. The future begins not in grand speeches or grand plans, but in the everyday acts of empathy that connect one person to another. Unity is not a word of comfort, it is a word of responsibility. It requires effort. It asks us to look beyond ourselves and to recognize the humanity that binds us. It is not about agreement in everything, but about respect in everything. It is about finding strength not in uniformity, but in diversity, understanding that our different stories, perspectives, and experiences are not obstacles, but gifts that allow us to see the world more clearly. Service is the expression of that understanding. It is love in motion, the quiet decision to place others before oneself. It does not need applause, it needs sincerity. The truest form of service is the one that expects nothing in return, the one that believes deeply that to help another is to strengthen us all. That is how the foundations of a just and hopeful future are built, one act, one word, one gesture at a time. The world we inherit carries both its beauty and its wounds. We cannot change that, but we can decide how we respond to it. We can choose to build instead of divide, to mend instead of ignore, to lead with empathy instead of fear. Each generation is called to make this choice anew. And though our tools may change, our duty remains the same, to bring people together, to give meaning to our time, and to ensure that those who come after us inherit not only a better world but a kinder one. In this journey toward building the future, it is easy to feel small, to wonder if one voice or one act can make a difference. But history has shown us that change often begins quietly in moments of conviction, in the decision of one person to act when it would be easier not to. The smallest light can pierce the darkest night, and one heart filled with compassion can awaken many more. Unity begins when we recognize that each of us holds a part of the solution. There is strength in working together. It is in collaboration that hope takes form. We see it when communities come together after hardship, when strangers help each other in times of need, when young people refuse to accept injustice and instead build bridges of understanding. In those moments, we glimpse the world we are capable of creating, a world where respect replaces indifference, and where care is stronger than fear. To serve is to lead by example, even when no one is watching. It is to remember that every position, every opportunity, every role we hold carries the possibility to uplift others. Service is not about status. It is about stewardship, caring for what has been entrusted to us, and ensuring that it grows for those who will follow. It reminds us that the future is not a distant dream, but a living responsibility that begins in the choices we make now. Building the future is a collective act of hope. It demands both patience and imagination, patience to work through difficulty, and imagination to see beyond it. It means trusting that what we build today will one day support others, even those we may never meet. The future belongs not to those who wait for it, but to those who shape it with purpose. When people unite in service, they create more than progress, they create belonging. They remind us that we are connected, that the success of one is the strength of all. They remind us that no act of kindness is ever wasted, that even the quietest efforts ripple outward in ways we may never see. This is the essence of building the future, not through ambition alone, but through compassion sustained over time. The most powerful form of unity is one that grows from understanding. It does not silence difference, but celebrates it. It listens as much as it speaks. It learns, adapts, and welcomes new ideas while holding firm to values that endure. This unity is not fragile because it is built on respect, not conformity. It is the kind of unity that can face storms and still stand strong, because it is rooted in truth. As I look to the future, I believe that what will define us most is not how advanced our world becomes, but how deeply we remember to care for one another. Technology may connect us, but it is kindness that